Hey, on this podcast episode, I want to talk to you guys about taking your songs that are good and making them great. And if they sound rough, how to take them to that next level so they sound like a real record. Let's do this.
I spent the last 14 years playing over 1,000 shows, touring 22 different countries, and become a top 40 Billboard charting artist. I fired my record label to go out on my own as an independent artist, to market and release my own music, selling thousands of albums and millions of streams. The question I always get is, how did I do it without a label and sell even more music? This podcast is here to show you the way. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my music business and a loyal fan base.
Hey guys, just going for my morning walk here. It's absolutely freezing outside, -9 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's absolutely freezing. So getting my walk in and just crushing it, getting that exercise. It's actually January 3rd, I think, as I record this, or 2nd. I can't actually remember. I'll have to go look at my calendar. But anyways, I know it's January. I think it's January 3rd. But anyways, you could be listening to this on a different day. But just going after it. Putting my health as a priority this year, going for my exercise. Writing is a priority for me this year. Family is a priority for me this year. Increasing my income, writing more songs, releasing more songs, selling more music, all a priority. I'm curious, what is a few priorities that you have on your list this year besides, just music, of course, but is your health, is mending some relationships? I'm just curious. And as always, leave a comment or a review if you guys are digging this podcast. And last thing, if you have not gotten a free copy of my new guide, the Music Marketing and Promotions Guide, go to smartmusicbusiness.com/free book. So I want to talk to you about making your songs better, getting them sounding better, the structures, because this is the thing. Now with technology, it's really easy to get a really great recording, okay? Like you can get a USB mic, you can get Pro Tools or Logic, and what you can do even in the post is incredible. Like I remember when I recorded my song Edge of My Life, it was a pretty big single for us. Went to radio, we did a music video for it, go check it out. But if you listen to the vocals on that, they sound really, really good. But the funny thing is we recorded them in my buddy's living room, my buddy Adam, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was echoey, but it was definitely wasn't soundproof. It wasn't the best room for doing something like that, but it sounds phenomenal. And that's because what you can do in the post edit now, and with different EQs and stuff like that. And I'm not a mix guy at all, but my buddy Adam is probably one of the best mixers, so like it just sounded incredible, and it even sounded better than some of the vocals that I recorded in a professional studio with other producers. And even one of the producers was like, man, he just like knocked it out of the park. And I was like, dude, this is the room that we recorded those vocals in. And he was just like absolutely blown away. So the one myth I want to just knock out is not about necessarily having the fancy studio. It's about really knowing your gear and knowing how to get what you want out of it. I remember my buddy Boy Wonder back in the day, who's done stuff for Drake, Eminem, some of the biggest artists around, and he was just making beats on FL Studio in his mom's basement with a fold-out table and 2 Rocket speakers, okay? And he was just crushing out some of the dopest sounds. And, I remember going on tour and meeting different people, and I remember this, like, really rich family, brought us over, and they had all the gear you could possibly imagine, elaborate studio, and the stuff sounded like garbage, and the songs were garbage, they just weren't very good. And that's because, I guess, again, it's just not about the gear, it's about how you use it. What you want to do is, if you've got a bad song, okay, like if you got a song that you started, you want to take it to somebody who can finish it. Maybe you're a good starter of songs, but you need help finishing them. And I'll tell you what, I'm a really good starter. Like I'm really good at getting the ideas out, coming up with the initial melodies and ideas and concept, but I definitely need a lot of help finishing it off and getting it done, okay? Because there's more than just the beginning part of it. You want to finish the whole thing, okay? And so sometimes I'll be really good at just getting the first initial idea done, and then I'll go sit down with the producer and we'll finish writing it. Maybe I'll have the whole verse done, or maybe I'll have a whole chorus done or a whole part done, but the idea is I want to get the rest of it done, and sometimes I need help, and sometimes the idea needs to get fleshed out a little bit, and we'll rework on it, and he'll say, hey, why don't we try this for the B part of the chorus, or why don't you try this melody for the verse. I remember I had one melody for Stones, and it would go like this. It would go, I'm a young gun reloading the moment you thought I was done. This is how the melody, it was like da 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 da, and it was just kind of like, not that it was monotonous, but he was like, okay, do that melody, but then switch it up and like rap fast a little bit, sing at the beginning part, and then he said do this double time kind of rapping thing to switch it up. And if you listen to my song Stones, that's what I ended up doing. And I remember he told me that over the phone in the airport while I was traveling, so I just sat my butt down and just started writing, you know what I mean? But I needed somebody outside of myself to see that. You know, sometimes we are so close to our art that we don't see what else can be possible. We get stuck on a melody, or we get stuck inside the song because, you know, we've rehearsed it so many times and we only see the song like that. But that's why it's so good to bring it to somebody else who can see it in a different light and bring a new idea and say, hey, have you thought about singing it like that? And that's why collaborations are just so important, because, you know, people will pull things out of you that you didn't even know were there and give you ideas that you never even thought of trying. And that's just happened to me so many times. And at the beginning, you know, I was insecure and I had to swallow my pride. And you know, I remember when I used to go to the studio, sometimes I'd rehearse something so many times because I wanted it memorized. Like back in the day when I first started, I always had all my lyrics memorized so that I could just go into the booth and I didn't have to like look at paper or anything, because I thought that was kind of like cheating or something like that. But then the more I did songwriting and the more I did stuff, I realized that when I get to the studio, we're going to make changes. You know, we're going to edit stuff, because I remember when I had it memorized once, he wanted to make some changes and we wanted to change the lyric, but when it came time to that part that, you know, we wanted to change, I kept on singing it the old way instead of the new way, and it made it even more difficult. So now, you know, I'll get ideas in my head, but I don't ever memorize. Geez, I haven't memorized lyrics before a studio session in probably, it's got to be at least 10 years. I haven't done that, but that used to be the thing, like have your verses memorized. And part of it was, back in the day, especially when I was doing more hip hop, it was because, you know, I didn't want to waste time in the studio because it cost money and I wanted to bang it out. But I realized it's not about just having whatever I wrote memorized and done and perfect, because, you know, that doesn't allow for edits and that doesn't allow to make it better. And you got to remember, this is art. Okay, this is art, and it's collaboration and trying to get things to be tighter and better. That's the goal here, is we want the best art piece that we can possibly make with our music. So I hope that really inspires you and gets you thinking on some stuff. And again, don't do this alone. Songwriting is not meant to be a lone sport. It is at the beginning, getting your heart out there and saying what you want. It's definitely a loner thing sometimes and getting the ideas, but when it comes to finishing it and getting it done, it is not a loner sport at all. It is a collaboration thing. Like, yes, I love writing alone. I love being by myself at the beginning, but I love when people bring other ideas to the table and we can all be vulnerable together. Okay, you're vulnerable on your own and you try things, and then you get even more vulnerable and you write in front of other people. And I get it, man. Like, sometimes your songs can be like total wearing your heart on your sleeve stuff, and allowing people to come in on that process. You obviously want people that you know, like, and trust, right? So anyways, go write a great song. Go share it with somebody. Find a producer that can take it to the next level. And normally a producer has got, like, you know, mixing skills as well too. Okay, because you know, the mix is just, it's just so important. And finding someone who can make that record sound really, really polished. And what's frustrating with that, and sorry I'm going a little longer today, guys, but what's frustrating with that is it's like that last 20% is like so important. And sometimes some guys can get it to the 80%, but they can't get it to that 20. And sometimes you got to pay, you know, the bigger bucks to get a really good mix engineer to get that done and get it to the next level, because it's an ear thing, it's an EQ thing, it's just it's a very specialized skill, I think, when it comes to mixing and just having all the sounds in the right pocket and stuff like that, and putting everything where it needs to be. And sometimes like I don't even sometimes know what words to say, but I definitely know when something doesn't sound right, and it's just like, dang, dude. But now I normally only work with guys that know how to mix and do a proper record, because I won't even hire them until I've heard what they've done. It's like, okay, yes, this is the quality that I'm looking for. This person knows how to put out a commercial record. And what I mean by commercial is something that's being able to sell on a mass scale or go to radio with or something like that. So and you start with where you are, and then you build up to it. And sometimes I'll say to artists, like, you're trying to do a whole record and you're saying, oh, I don't have enough money and my budget's only this. And so you take your budget and you try and do a whole album, when really you should have taken that budget and only done 1 or 2 hit songs and spent more with an A producer. But instead you want to just get a whole EP because of your ego, and you spread that $5,000 for like 5 songs or 10 songs, and then you get a mediocre sounding record. And I know I'm stepping on some toes right now, but it's true. And if I was coaching you one-on-one, I'd probably tell you to dial it back and make 2 great songs instead of 5 to 10 mediocre ones that don't sound as good, aren't written as good, and just overall aren't your best. And what's also better with that is, I guarantee you, out of the 5 to 10 songs that you're working on right now, I bet you only 2 of them are real smash hits. They probably are. And you probably know which ones that are your favorites and that are probably the strongest songs. But you want to dilute your effectiveness, and you want to just try to, spread it out, all your energy, and working on these, 5 to 10 songs, when you could be putting all your energy in this 1 to 2 songs and make those hits. Okay? And I'll tell you, hits will do more for you. 1 or 2 hits will do more for you than 10 songs or 5 songs or some album. Nobody cares about your album. Nobody cares about my album. They're like, play me the freaking hits, man. Play me the freaking hits. I do have a songwriting course I'm working on. I've had it for a while, and it's got all the studio sessions in it from my last records of literally us coming up with the ideas and seeing the songwriting process. And what I'm going to do is you're going to see me songwriting with guys, and I'm going to be pausing it and sharing the lessons that you'll learn right there for the studio, so that you can apply the little nuggets and what's happening for when you're in a studio session, and just all the little tricks and tips just to get the best song and write with people. And I think you guys will really, really dig that. I am working on it, and I can't wait for you guys to go through it. It's going to be awesome, but that won't be until a little later this year. But again, I want to say thanks for listening. Keep writing, keep having fun, and I'm going to go write later today, and I hope you do too, and just have a great year. And please leave a comment or review. Let me know this podcast is helping you. I believe in you. Next Fanbase University call is coming up real soon. Again, it's on the 12th and 24th. I get to hang out with you and answer your questions, and sometimes I get to see you too, because we get to talk live, which is really fun. So maybe I'll see you on the next call on that. Have a great day, and remember, a fighter isn't someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits. Peace.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also leave a comment or a review and let me know how I've helped you, or what other topics you want me to cover on this podcast. I always read them, and it always inspires me to hear your story. And also, if you need more music marketing help, or you just need more coaching, or you need your questions answered in a deeper way, I have a coaching program called Fanbase University. Go to fanbaseuniversity.com to sign up, because on the 12th and 24th of every month, I answer all your questions, coaching my students, plus you get access to exclusive video training on how to market your music and grow your fan base. Go to fanbaseuniversity.com and start your trial today, and I look forward to helping you grow your career. Cheers.